Hello there guys, Daniel Laddie here from PRD Nationwide. We're doing another interview today and we're about to introduce to you one of our team members who's been with us for some time. Just a reminder that this interview series is about you guys meeting our team and finding out ways that we can maximise your outcomes in this market. And certainly any questions that get asked, we can cover those off too in future videos. So today we're going to be speaking with, let me click that over properly, sorry. We're going to be meeting Natalie De Chellis. So Natalie's part of our property management team. In recent years, she's been specialising with our new landlords, but a huge amount of time she's been in our industry, so 30 plus years. So let's cross over to Nat now and introduce her. Natalie, how are you going?
Good morning, Daniel. Thanks for having me.
No worries at all. So today's just about trying to learn a little bit more about you. So, it's just crazy to think that you've been in this industry, in the Penrith market for, I guess, over 3 decades now. I mean, so many changes I've seen in my career, which is sort of coming up to 20 years. But I thought I'd just try to start with finding a bit more around like what today's like compared to when you first started. I mean, technology I know is not your best friend. I've seen that.
Definitely not.
I've seen that working closely with you.
Much rather be talking to people.
Yes. Well, you're good at that, so I'm sure you're going to be good on the camera today too. So I mean, like maybe just for the people viewing, paint a bit of a picture for what it was like when you first started, going back, back when you first started back in the 80s, I guess, was it? Little 90s. So.
Well, 35 years. I left schools, 15 years old, straight into my first real estate job. My first job was for a little agency up in the lower mountains. I started as a receptionist. Yes, things were extremely different back then.
No computers at all?
No computers, no mobile phones. I think we managed, it was around about 180 properties.
Okay.
So end of month was always a challenge. Having to do a manual, well, back in those days, tenants paid rent via cash. They come into the office and paid over the counter with cash. And we had an old system, manual carbonated system called the Kalamazoo system. You probably don't know that one, Dan. You're a bit younger than me.
I'm the younger, but I don't remember that, so it must have just been after.
Yeah, it was a carbonated system that we used to write out the receipt to the tenant, and it had a ledger behind it, which we put in our little wooden box. And at the end of the month, I would sit there and type individually on a typewriter. The young ones probably don't know what that is. On a typewriter, the end of month statements, which took about 2 days to complete. I would then write out 180 checks to each landlord, attach the check and send it in the post. So the whole end of month process was a 2 to 3 day affair. I mean, these days it's a 15-minute click of the button. It's amazing.
I was going to say technology is obviously like with the CRM software we use, and obviously you pay a premium to have these services, but it's all about, streamlining those services and giving the client the best level of service possible. I mean, that's interesting. I mean, like even now, like we talk about inspect real estate, again, the CRMs we use, like it's just so automated and things flow so well. Like I guess the cornerstone for property management is delivering good quality service. I mean, I know we've introduced a lot of, since I've been in my role with the business, introduced a lot of different systems, and you're always the first one to sort of jump up and say, well, hang on a second, is that going to change the service level to the client? I mean, over your whole career, like, has that been the number one focus for you, customer service?
Absolutely. 100%. I mean, landlords, we deal with landlords that have, millions of dollars worth of property, big investors down to the little mum and dad, young couple, first time investors. I mean, they're entrusting, whether it's that big client or, that one-off investor, they're entrusting probably their most biggest asset to us as a team, other than their family home. That can be, $500,000 plus. So that trust means a lot to me. They're putting that trust in myself and also our team. I mean, our team collectively, we have 5 senior property managers here, and collectively we have over 100 years experience. But yes, I'm very passionate about the service we give the landlords.
Well, yeah, on that, I mean, I know there's clients who I've got a good relationship with, and they've been with our business for 20 plus years, some of our landlords,
Yeah.
and their portfolios are built under our guidance and I guess advice. I mean, when we made the decision for you to start working with the new landlords in the business, like it was a strategic approach because obviously you know your stuff with the history you've got and the experience, but being able to convey that service level and making sure the clients are aware of those key things that are important in having someone manage their property has really been something that you do specialize well in. I'm going to cross over to a second to a document that we use for some of our new clients, and that's available to anyone who's inquiring about having their property managed. I know you use it as a resource to explain and make sure the clients are aware of some of the massive issues that they do face with this type of investment. I might just bring that up now. Let me see here. Bear with me. Into the screen here. Here. Okay, so this webbook we created is effectively what it says down on the screen is this stress-free property management with Natalie. So like hundreds and hundreds of landlords you've brought into the business in recent years. I mean, you get a lot of business referred to you. A lot of the business comes from our sales team and other parts of our business. What I'd like you just to touch on, if you don't mind, is I always hear you talking about the things that you can get wrong as a landlord and what your managing agent needs to be aware of. So I might just flick through this quickly. In this report, it does talk about our team and that 100 years experience you mentioned. Talks about the PRD difference, which I won't go through now, but I would like to just hear you chat about and highlight what you call the top 5 pitfalls that landlords come up against. Can you maybe highlight one or two of those and just explain the importance that landlords need to be considering, in your opinion?
Yep. So over the years, when we've, in particular, if I take a call from a landlord who has a property with another agent, for example, the two main complaints are usually my property's been vacant for X amount of weeks, if not months. Number two, my property's just been trashed, my tenant's been evicted, and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of rent arrears. So those two are most definitely, in my opinion, and I'm sure any property manager would agree, the two key areas that need to be focused on. Vacancy. We're talking about technology before. Things have changed so much. Probably only up to 5 years ago, marketing and promoting rental properties was a lot different. You'd take an external photo of the property, you would put it online, and you would have people turn up at the open home. Today's market, extremely different. It's probably the most competitive market I've seen in the last 30 odd years. I think a lot has to do with the airport. It's sort of put Penrith on the map. First time ever, 2 or 3 years ago, we had all the overseas investors buying up hugely in Penrith. So, all the new development, Jordan Springs, Thornton, Caddens, Glenmore Ridge, all this new development, which we're going to need with the growth of population, but it has put a lot more properties on the market for lease and very, very competitive. So your agent needs to think outside the box, professional photography, video advertising. We do a little video ad and put that on social media. It's very, very important. The first 5 days a property goes online is when it's going to have the most activity. And if you get that wrong, you're probably, on page 4 or 5 down the list on the ad. So yeah. I'm very passionate about that. The team's very passionate about that. We have a full-time leasing agent as well who shows the properties 6 days a week.
I agree. I definitely saw the shift. The selling side of the business has always had marketing at the forefront, and I guess we've sort of set a bit of a benchmark there, but it was definitely lagged to see the property management team utilising the marketing service, but obviously you're on board with that and a huge supporter of it. And I guess it is quite cost effective for a landlord because it's tax deductible, potentially the additional costs. And if you do it at the strategic time when the property's vacant, you can, and you capture it in the right way, that can last you multiple years worth of for when you need to remarket. So
Yeah, we that that bank of photos, the professional photos are there to use for many leasings after that. So yeah, it is a one-off upfront cost, I guess. And
It's an investment, isn't it? It's an investment to help
Yeah,
them in the future. Yeah. So,
yeah, it
okay.
does make a huge difference.
The other point you mentioned there was the like the zero tolerance for arrears. So I mean, I've seen you in action, and I know our team all sort of row from the same boat there in terms of like how firm they are around chasing that. So
Yeah.
I mean, like it's the difference of being rated a good manager and a bad manager. Would you say?
Oh, well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the initial process is probably is critical to get the right tenant, not just, any tenant, to make sure obviously they can afford the property, if the affordability's there. But we set our tenants up on a direct debit to start the week after they move in, so they're always a week ahead. But we do have a non-tolerant, zero tolerance of arrears. Our tenants actually acknowledge that when we sign the lease with the tenant. I think considering we manage roughly 750 properties, we're in COVID at the moment, so we're a little bit higher than what normal, but we average around that sort of 2 to 3% maximum with the arrears.
Well, I sit in a lot of the meetings where it's pretty much the first thing on the agenda is for the property managers is to see where the arrears is at. So, so look, I think what I'd like to do moving forward is there's so many other topics we could talk about around like the service you offer with property management. Like I think we might do a follow-up catch up around some of the more detailed areas. And again, there's so many good little case studies that I know that you're aware of, where it's either been a case we've taken over a management or you've worked with a client for multiple years. So we might make that the next time we catch up to sort of highlight a couple of those. But certainly the webbook that I brought up on the screen is something that we can make that available to clients. So
absolutely.
What we will do is sort of in whatever post we make around this video is put your contact details in there and allow potential clients to reach out to you, because there's a lot of I guess information we're passing off for free there, but certainly an owner needs to be across it if they're making any genuine inquiries around being a property investor or already are.
Absolutely. Yeah. More than happy to have a chat. I love chatting. If it's just about the market and what it's doing, or you've got a property that you're possibly looking at investing in, send me the link to the ad and I'm more than happy to give you my opinion and potential rental return, whatever your question may be.
Oh, that's great. I guess like we talked about technology earlier, like you have adapted this video, these video calls, so you can, I mean, clients can reach out to you this way as well and set up face-to-face, like via video screen. All right, well, I'll make some summary of the notes when we make the post, but thanks for joining us today. And
thank you, Daniel.
we will come back to you again and maybe dive a little bit deeper into Natalie and her next couple of decades in real estate potentially. So.
Oh, geez, yeah. I love it. I'm passionate about it. I love dealing with people, and I love giving people a home. It makes me cry sometimes.
Oh,
the landlord owns the property, but the tenant, it's their home. So it's they make their memories there, and I get a real buzz out of that. So
it's a nice way to finish. All right, well, thanks again, and we will do this again.
Thank you, Dan. Have a good day.
See you, Nat.
See ya.
Bye.